Lotta Medelius-Bredhe, you are the managing director of Svenska kraftnät. So how do you see the present electricity market situation?
Well, I mean, in the short-term perspective, it's a functioning market, I think. There are price signals and the actors that react on the signals. I guess that a lot of people nowadays are thinking about the very high prices that we see in Europe, but I don't really think that, I mean, the market, the electricity market construction has very little to do with those high prices for the moment, even though they can be very challenging, of course. In the longer time, I mean, we have lots of things happening in the energy system. Very high demand for electricity in the coming year, very much weather-dependent production that is connected to the grid, and that leads to need for balancing services, needs for increased capacity, of course, in the transmission system, but also need for flexibility in consumption. These are areas that the TSOs has responsibility to take care of. And then, of course, we have the adequacy issue that might be challenging within this electricity market, I would say.
Thank you. In which matters the cooperating between Fingrid and Svenska kraftnät should be improved, in your opinion?
First of all, I think that we have a very good cooperation. I mean, it's a very long cooperation in the Nordic countries and also with the Baltic states. And we're now working together with the Aurora line, which is a new overhead line in the north of Sweden and Finland. And we also have this renewal of Fennoskan in the coming years. We also have good cooperation when it comes to frequency services, for example, and I guess that we will be very important to continue that. But then I also see that in the context of this Hanaholmen program, for example, which is an initiative initiated between our ministers, prime ministers, when it comes to management of civil crisis. So not only a cooperation in the military defense, but also in the civil defense area. And there I think that the cooperation could be developed because, I mean, electricity is an infrastructure that is extremely important in a civil crisis as well.
Yes, yes. And what are the plans of Svenska kraftnät to develop the grid?
Yes, well, as I said, we have lots of changes now with the production wind that wants to connect to the grid and also new industries establishing. And we have a kind of old grid in Sweden. So we have huge investments planned coming years, like 80 billion Swedish crown the coming 10 years. And it is increasing capacity and also integrated with other countries. We have to make this quicker than we usually had because the transition is very fast. And we also just very recently have got a new task from the government that we will be responsible for the transmission grid also in the Swedish territorial waters. So this will also be a lot of focus on connecting offshore wind parks in Sweden.
Any ideas of new interconnectors between Finland and Sweden?
Well, we will come back to that, I think, in the 10-year planning ahead of us, yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.